Hello Sumeti, welcome back to my channel. So this is a continuation of how I made this transparent corset with corset mesh. If you've not seen the part 1, 2 and 3 of this video, you can go to the description box and see it, because you'll not understand this part if you've not seen those parts. So we're going to be continuing from where we stopped in the last video. So in the last video we stopped at coupling the upper parts together, like just coupling everything together. So in the second part of the video, we are going to be making the skirt part. We are going to be attaching hip padding to it. We are going to be creating the eyelet, and we are going to be making the basque waistline. So we are practically making just the inbuilt corset in this video, making the basque waistline, attaching the skirt to the upper part to create the inbuilt corset. This is where we stopped in the last one, coupling the upper part together. So let's get started. The soldering iron is hot enough. Now I feel like using 1.5, since this corset is not carrying a closure. Okay, it doesn't have to be so, the space does not have to be too much, so that it does not expose too much skin. Okay, so I'm using 1.5 instead of 2 inches. Okay, I'll do the same thing for the other side, 1.5. So you make sure you don't open it too much. Okay, so here is the eyelet machine. So what we'll do now is we're going to open it up with the zipper and scissors. Okay, so I'm just going to cut it through. So after opening it up enough, so this is the right side. Okay, it is from the right side you place it. Can you see? Then see what we've placed. Can you see it? Then you turn it this way, put it on your machine, you put this part on top. It's like a cover. Can you see? I'll repeat the same thing until I am done attaching eyelets to all the lines. So I continue like that until I was done with the eyelet part. So the upper part is done. So this is me cutting the skirt. So this pattern I'm cutting for the skirt, I'll go ahead and use it to cut on the main fabric. Okay, so this is a dartless skirt pattern. If you've not seen my video on how to make a dartless skirt pattern with hip allocation method, I'll drop the link in the description box, because if I should start going through that process again in this video, the video is going to be too long. I have a detailed and explanatory video on how to make a dartless skirt pattern with hip allocation. So I will go and cut on the fabric off camera. I will go to the machine and sew. So here is the lace, right? I've gone to press the lace on the crepe. I'm going to press it all around. So what I'll be doing now, I'll be joining it lace by lace and lining by lining, because I'm going to add hip and butt pad to it. If you've not seen my video on how to do your hip and butt pad, I'll drop the link in the description box. So I'll not be showing details of that in this video because I already have it on my channel. So I'll go ahead and join the lace together side by side. Then I'm only just going to leave the center back that I will use to turn and put the zipper. And remember that we added 1-inch seam allowance to it while we were drafting. So I'll go ahead and join with the 1-inch. So now we're going to attach it to the lining of the skirt, okay? So this is what we have. This is the lining. This is the upper part. Remember that while we were cutting on the paper, we came down by 3 inches, 1.5 from the waistline. So the hip pad is going to start from the 1.5, okay? So I'll go ahead and mark 1.5. Then you need to open up the seam lines. Can you see? You open up the seam lines like this because it is on this seam line we'll be attaching this thing on. So another thing you need to note is that this biggest part of it is the back pattern. This is the back pattern, okay? So what you do, you know, this is the upper part, so this cannot fit in because it's not meant to be like this. It's meant to be like this. So this will fit into this part. So here is the upper part. Can you see the upper part? And this is the back side. Then for the skirt, this is the back side of the skirt also. Can you see? There's the back side and there's the front side of the skirt. So what we are going to do now, I'm going to pin it down starting from this 1.5, okay? So here is the 1.5. So I'm going to pin it down starting from there. I'm going to place it like this. Let me. Can you see? So I'm going to sew on this line, okay? But before then I have to arrange it very well. So I'll flip it to the other side. So you make sure that you spread it very well when you are sewing it, okay? So So can you see what we have? So the next thing now, I'm going to run one stitch around it, okay, so that we can hold this part to the fabric. So when you're doing that, you make sure you're spreading your fabric also, so that it doesn't pack, because if you do not spread it and it's packing in, your skirt is not going to come out well. It's not going to be smaller, okay? So you make sure it doesn't pack. So I'm just going to run it round. So can you see what we have? Now that we've sewn it, we're going to turn the lining with the main fabric, okay? We're going to turn the lining. We're going to turn the lining and the fabric. We're going to turn the lining with the fabric, so we'll do it right side, facing right side, okay? So this is the right side of the lining. This is the right side of the fabric. So it's going to be right side facing right side. We'll be turning the upper parts and the center back area. So this joining has to meet like this. I'm spreading it open. So can you see it? So I'm just going to run a straight stitch on the upper part first. Can you see? So this is what it looks like. So we're going to join the center back together, leaving the zipper area. But I will have to go off camera so I can remove the beads from the part I want to sew on, okay? I've gone ahead to remove the beads from this side. Then on the waistline, I did turn it in again. I have to lose it and press it because you know that we're going to be cutting it basque on the dress, okay? So I had to turn it back and I just press it and I just held it down. So the next thing we'll be doing, I will flip it to the wrong side. So we're going to bring our zipper to mark where the zip will be starting from. I want it to be 7 inches. I want the zip to start from 7 inches from the waist. So this is it. So from that point now, I will mark the 1.5 for zipper allowance that we added. So it's the 1.5 I'm marking straight down. Make sure you mark it, okay, so that it will be fitted, okay, so that this thing will fit where it will be tight. Then this thing can fit where the padding can fit where, okay. So just mark it so that your lines are equal. Can you see what I'm doing? So I'll just mark the 1.5 straight down, then I will run a straight stitch connecting the 1.5. So I'll go ahead now to attach the zipper to it. So the next thing for us to do now is to go to the dress form so we can create the basking fit before coming back to the sewing machine. So we are already here, and then this is the skirt part. I'm going to be wearing it on it. I will have to determine how I want the basque effect to be, okay? I have to determine how I want it to be. How low do I want it to be? Then on the back, I think the back placement is okay like this for the back. Then for the front, we are going to determine how we want it. Okay? So starting from the waistline to the center, this is the center, okay? So let me mark it here like this. Now the basque is starting from this part, the side waistline, straight to the center like this. So you can just mark it. So now you can see that it is not for this part. I feel like it's too deep because this is where the inner inbuilt corset is resting on, so the basque cannot end here. So we'll be taking it up a bit, which means that it is not going to be so deep, okay? And you remember we made it short. We made the inbuilt corset short because we want to be able to sit down, okay? If you make it longer than this, you won't be able to sit down, or your clients, okay? So you just leave it like this. So from here now, I'm going to reconnect, okay? Which means that what we are cutting out is not going to be much. So we'll stop at the center like this. So I'm going to fold it this way to be able to get this side, okay? So on this part, fold it down, fold it a little bit. Can you see it? So after cutting this side, you use this side to cut this side. So you just fold it this way. By the time you fold it, it's very easy. You just cut it. Can you see what we have? Now you can see that the both sides, the cuts for the both sides are equal. So the next thing we'll be doing, okay, so now now that we'll cut it out, we are going to mark, okay? We'll mark where we want to sew on. Like I said, I'm taking it to my sewing machine. If I was going to sew it with needle and thread, there will be no point marking, and I will not remove it from the dress form. It is on the dress form I will tack it. But like I said, I don't feel secure enough using only needle and thread for it, so we'll be going to the sewing machine to do that. So what I will do now, I'm going to mark it so that it will be easier for us to work on. So I have my chalk with me, so you can see it on this part. I need my tape. Can you see it? So I went ahead to press this part down first so that the lace does not move away from the crepe. Okay, so what we are going to do now is so you can see how I'm wearing it on it. Now you see that the markings are here, so you make sure that you don't exceed the marking. Okay, so this is where this line is meeting. Can you see? So whatsoever is left is going to come this way. Can you see it? Can you see? Normally it didn't get to the it didn't get to the end. This part didn't get to the end of the skirt because it is shorter with 1 inch. This one is shorter with 1 inch. I removed 1 inch from this space. You know, from the beginning this part was wider than this. If you remember, I had to cut away from it, like I created a spacing. Okay, so from here now I will pin it down. So when you're pinning it, you make sure that you're not pinning it together with the front. Okay, and please don't exceed the line, the markings you made, so that it will be accurate. So now that we've pinned it all around, we'll go ahead to sew. So I'll be starting from the center back. So I'm following the lines. Okay, this part, you know, this side is coming out, this side is coming out, because I need a spacing. You can see that the space here is no longer up to 3 inches like we measured from the beginning. That's because I cut away from it. So we'll be having a spacing here. So because we'll be having that at this part, I'm going to fold this part. Okay, I'm going to fold it this way so that this place can cover up. So I have to off the light in the machine so that you can see it clearly how I am sewing it. Okay, so like I said, we've jumped these two bonies. Okay, so as I'm sewing now, you know this bony is not a sewable bony, so we'll be jumping it. So when I get to this edge, I want to start from now. I will tighten it. Okay, I'll tighten it, then I will sew. When I'm almost at the next bony, right, I'm going to tighten it. So you can see that my thread is cutting. So I've tightened that place. I'm going to take it. I'm going to jump. Okay, I'm going to jump the next bony, which is this one. So I will jump to this part. Then to begin, I will tighten it. Then I will continue sewing. When I'm almost at the next boning, I will tighten it, okay? And I will continue. I will jump that boning, come forward, and I'll tighten it again, okay? Then I will sew. So this is how I'm going to do it until I'm done sewing it round, okay? It's going to cut thread a lot, but I prefer it this way than stacking it. And it also gives me a neat finishing, especially when I'm not embellishing the waistline, okay? So I'll tighten it. After that, I'll jump the boning. I'll go to the next space. So on this part, this zipper part, you know, it's meant to be like this on the inside. So I'm going to fold this part like this. I'll cut this part away. So I'm going to fold it in. Except you did your inner sewing, okay? Except you turn this part of your zip. Like you turn, you know, this part now, you didn't sew it out like this. You did inseam sewing completely. So I'm going to fold it in. So there is eyelet here. I'm going to sew it without. So what I will do now, I will use my needle and thread to tack it down. But I can sew from here to this part. Then the remaining part, I'll use my needle and thread to tack it down. So can you see? You can see that it's neat on this side. So we'll do the same thing for the other side. So can you see? So now that we've sewn it round, the only thing you have to do is just to turn this one downwards. You know we turn it upside down now. So turn it and use it to face down where it is meant to face. Okay? So this is what we have. Can you see? So you see this place we worked on. Can you see it? You can see that it's neat. So this is what we have, like this. Okay, so we are going to the dress form now, so we can drape on it. So can you see what we have? You can see how neatly done it is, right? So I prefer this method than needle and thread. So let's go and drape. Let's go to the dress form so we can drape. So the next part of the video will continue from here. From this part, I'm going to be showing us how to drape correctly, and that will be the final part of the video. See you in the next part.